economy, but some of it is, and of course we would be very aware of that in the way we do it in practice. If you take, it's not me, I guess, is it?
I know. Who is that phone?
Yeah, it's me.
They're going to answer the next question. Okay, well then you're answering the question. You're fine.
Just finally, I'll be happy to see the arguments really put to the point on these regulation proposals. But now I see from City the enormous report manipulated after the report manipulated, where they tried to tell the people that this would cost billions of euros. It's simply not true when you go into it. We have not time now, but you can ask me later on.
Ásgeir, in terms of what happened in Iceland, would regulation have saved it? Better regulation, stricter regulation?
Well, in actually hindsight, I think that we should have been more actually in hindering inflows. I think that we should have actually placed actually some kind of a tax on actually inflows into the country. I think that would have changed a whole lot. Though overall, I'm not quite sure that that a very actually strict regulation overall will actually hinder a financial crisis. I think that they will always come.
And who's going to regulate the regulators? I have another question coming over here. Then I've got two more, and then guys, I'm wrapping it up. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. Mark Vindo-Creevy from the Open University. A question for Ásgeir, really. You used the word naive. I mean, I guess if people in Iceland were naive, a lot of people around the world were naive. So I want to invite you to think a bit more about what's behind that word naive. And there you were sitting yourself in Iceland in the middle of this, as you describe it, big bubble built on sand. What was getting in the way of the realization that maybe there were hidden risks here, given the above average returns being produced?
Well, that is a good question. It's for Iceland, we had been for 70 years. We had been basically locked out from Europe. We had a very severe financial crisis in the 1930s. After that, the financial system was basically closed down. So this was our actually first time really with the financial crisis. So there was a very shall we say little collective memory of financial crisis in Iceland, and I think that we were quite unlucky. Scandinavia as a whole had a financial crisis in what, 91, 92, and that's why I think Scandinavia will come out can't be easily out of actually this crisis. Iceland missed out on that crisis, which in hindsight was quite bad. I think that if we had the experience of crisis with the with the other Scandinavian nations, we would have been much more prepared for this. And that's why I actually call it naive. I mean, this was our first crisis.
Without criticizing friends in Iceland, I tend to look at Iceland right now on what happened as one big hedge fund, which had an excessive leverage of more than 1 to 60, maybe more than 1 to 200 or something. If we try to go into it and understand what's going on, and if you have a hedge fund of that kind, and then things are moving when you have an upward going market all the time in the last 7-8 years. But then it's turning, you have nothing to put into it. I mean, in the Scandinavian countries, what went wrong in Sweden was on the leverage side also, as you said before, but that was only in Sweden. But if you take the other countries in Scandinavia, the capital requirement side was much stronger, and the housing mortgage system was double insured by strong individual claims and at the same time by bonds insuring it. So you could say that the Scandinavian model with a strong public sector going into it as counter-cyclical is part of the answer, I would say, for the future.
We have two quick questions, one here and one at the back, and don't open a can of worms right now. We're running out of time.
Okay, then I'll really keep it to two questions. One thing is, who's going to be the next after Iceland? Yeah, I mean, in America, we've seen so far 120 banks closing this year, about 500 mortgage lenders being closed. Nothing of this is happening in Europe. The only thing that's holding the whole system up is the ECB flooding it all with 1% money. They charge us now 10% per year. That's the one question. And then on the other side, when you're talking about regulation, I think there is too much regulation in terms of the ratings agencies. I mean, how insane are bankers when when we last year had 15 corporations, 15 nations, but 64,000 credit derivative swaps or any kind of this paper AAA rated. How insane is that thing? Does anybody read this research? The ratings agencies have got it wrong in all financial crises in the last 40 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow that.
Yeah, you can't blame the others. You have to blame yourself also. You were all in the same boat, whether bankers, credit rating agencies, hedge funds, private equity, or whatever. Take the credit rating agencies. I mean, if you look at conflict of interest, the conflict of interest between the credit rating agency and the bankers, securitization, project after project, and paying the credit rating agency for giving them free aid, right? If that is not really, really devastating, or not only from the credit rating agency, they earn their money of giving you 3 AAA, right? But also from the banks, avoiding having their skin in the game, securitizing their products, and then paying the credit rating agency for giving them the high rate. What a system. Of course, you have to change that. So we are not, it's not because we have too much regulation, it's because we didn't have anything.
And who's next? Who's next to go down in Europe? I don't want you to predict it here. And I'm really worried about what you were talking about, my own homeland, Ireland. I was at a conference recently, actually, in Dubai, where they were really concerned about Ireland. Have they learned anything? Are they watching what's going on? And can they all be saved?
Well, hopefully there will be no actually Iceland, I mean, no more. But I actually think that actually Ireland and also UK was actually close to becoming into a financial collapse last year, in actually September. But I think that the main risk has actually passed by now. What you have in Iceland, you have a country with very little foreign currency, foreign reserves, oversized banking system, and its own actually currency, which is not as internationally accepted. And I think that you can have a very similar things happen to any country that actually fulfills these characteristics. But hopefully we will not see any actual country.
We hope. Final word on this session to Jason. Go ahead.
Hi, Jason Schenker with Prestige Economics. This dovetails nicely with the question we were just addressing. In terms of what happened in Iceland, is it possible, given the nature of the sort of, I guess what we call a pump and dump scenario that happened there, could this happen in a much larger economy? And people often, especially, I'm from the United States, we talk about the debt obligations that continue to rise there. Could we have a massive currency problem? Could the financial markets ever attack a major market like that? What do you think is a prognosis for that?
And that's to both of them. Ásgeir, you want to start that one off?
Well, I would not think so. I mean, the Icelandic crisis was not really a housing bubble, as the financial crisis is in most other countries. The housing market in Iceland did not rise as much as in all other European countries. It was kind of an equity bubble. We had 3 banks that were kind of like in the US style investment banks, how they operated. And it might have been good to have like one such a bank in Iceland, but to have a whole financial system of only investment banks was not a very, very good idea. So that way, I think you would not have exactly the same thing happening. But the collapse of Iceland was really the loss of self-confidence. That the whole country, the state, the central bank just lost confidence. And that is the biggest fear for all banks and all financial systems, because financial systems are all built on actual confidence. And I would not maybe foresee that would happen in the US, but it's not impossible. I mean, it can happen to any financial system.